purpose of this video is to show you where the manual boost controller connects on a B5S4, how you disconnect the N75 valve and where you hook up the manual boost controller. The two types of manual boost controller we're going to show you is the standard boost controller you adjust under the hood, and then the new JHM style we're selling. It has, this one's cable actuated. This cable goes inside the car. It's a patented design. This line right here is going to correspond to this line. If you look, they basically match in shape. It's just different quality, different grade. These work great for KO3 cars, mild KO4s. These are working better for KO4s and bigger turbos. The adjustability, and then the fact that they got a cockpit adjustability feature. You can also get these without the cable on it as well, and they would have just a knob. See our site for more details on that. Okay, so this car is pretty far apart already, but you'll see the normal inlet Y pipe. I'm going to take this out of the way. You can do this with the pipe on the car, but I'm just leaving the Y pipe here so you can see reference. Normally the hose goes down to the mass airflow meter, and then the air box is right here out of the screen. So just going to move this out of the way. And then the N75 valve is right here. It's got a metal cage around it. It says Eaton on it. It's right next to this smog valve. And what you need to do is there's three connections to it. There's an electrical connection. That's separate. And then you have this hose right here that points towards the passenger side. And this car is a early 01. The 01.5 and up, this hose should go directly to the valve cover, or a lot closer. It's not going to want to pull out as far. But this one, just leave this one hooked up to the N75. You're going to leave the electrical connector connected. All you're unhooking is the bottom gray hose pointing downward, and then the other hose pointing outward towards the driver's side. Those are the two used for the manual boost controller. And they hook in the exact same fashion. Like this one is on the bottom right here. It just lays out the same way. So the one that's normally on the bottom of the N75 goes to the bottom of this one, and the one on the side goes on the side. Because this one is the boost pressure coming from the motor, and then this one's the one going out to the wastegates, and it tees off. You'll see where they tee off right down below. And then same thing with the other valve, manual boost controller. This one you could see, it's got the bottom. The bottom's going to hook to the bottom where the N75 is, and then that. So all I got to do is unhook these lines, and then you transfer them over to this. They're 1/4 inch roughly, and normally the stock clamps are clamp-on. You're going to want to use some clamps like this. These are usually 8 to 12 millimeter. So to get it off, these clamps are, like the regular clamp together deals you're going to see on these cars. You want to be careful. You don't want to break the plastic off, but a small pick or a screwdriver, you can get it in there and kind of walk it apart and then slip it off. Once you've got enough of the clamp load relieved, obviously, like I said, you want to be careful. You don't want to be really wailing on it because you'll break off the N75, and in case you need the N75 later, it's not cheap. So once that's, usually all you got to do is just loosen it up somewhat, and then you get the hoses off. And then these hoses, what you're going to want to do is you're going to bring them out of the way. There's the one that was at the bottom, and then here's the one that came from the side, and you can see how they relate to each other. And when you're going to use this style manual boost controller, all you would do is you want to get these clamps off. So now that they're broken free, you can usually go up in here and break it apart, or continue to just twist on it and pull it off. You don't want to cut them. Some people cut them and then they use hoses and extend them. The shorter the hose, the better. So you got them like that again, and you can see there's a pretty good amount of movement for them. But if you had this style manual boost controller, you would just, the one that's straight up and down goes in the same bottom spot, and then that one goes on the side, and then you'd put the clamps on there. Obviously I should put the clamps on first, but then you just clamp it up, and then usually you can just let it sit back here. You can zip tie it to the MAF boot or something, and then make your adjustments. The other style JHM now sells, same thing. The bottom goes to the bottom and the side goes to the side. This, however, though, with the cable, this one needs to be mounted to the firewall. So what I found, you usually got to move it, you know, a little bit more towards the center of the car, because you want to make sure there's slack in these lines. So when the motor jumps around, so I usually push it, you know, somewhere around here, because it needs to be mounted to the firewall. I'll show you that on another video how these mount. But as long as you know where the lines hook, you're in good shape. That way, if you ever need to go smog it or anything, it depends on your state. Some states are strict, some aren't. That way, you can just, you know, plug it right back in. That one to the bottom, that one to the side, and then reclamp it right back up. So it's pretty straightforward on where they go. And obviously, you want to make sure all your electrical connections are back on as well. But that's how you hook up a manual boost controller. And this is in standalone. This is not parallel. This is how to completely control it manually. And usually you have to have tuning for that.